Hello, my name is Tania Shah and welcome to Torts. So I'm going to start with an introduction to torts and I'm going to start with your definition first. So what is a tort? It's a wrongful act or an infringement of a right other than under contract leading to civil liability. So what I mean by civil liability as opposed to criminal liability. So it's a wrongful act other than when we're talking about like a breach of contract, because in contract it's also civil liability. It's a wrongful act leading to civil legal liability that's not contractual in nature, and because it's civil legal liability, we know it's not criminal in nature. Okay, so in this introduction to torts, I always like to talk a little bit about some questions that I get, and on this next slide I'm going to address what are you going to teach me that I won't already learn in law school. Well, when I was in law school, the issue was not so much learning the law, but understanding how it was supposed to be applied. So additionally, there was also this big secret that nobody told us, which is it all comes together in the end. So I believe that, with the studying and paying attention and paying attention in class, doing your notes, reading your case briefs, you can certainly understand the law. But some of the things that we want to talk about is how do we apply that when you're given a fact pattern, which is what you're going to be given on your final exam or on your midterm. How do we apply the law? And of course, the second thing is that things do come together in the end. We're learning things sort of one step at a time in law school, and we get sort of caught up in the minutia and the details sometimes. But there is a big picture where everything does come together in the end. So with that in mind, let's talk about what we'll be going over in torts. So the first thing we're going to cover is intentional torts. Intentional torts is when the tortfeasor or the defendant acts upon the plaintiff with intent. When we talk about intentional torts, I'll actually go into what intent actually means. It's not as straightforward as you might think it is, but it will be after the video. Negligence. What elements are necessary to prove that the tortfeasor was negligent as opposed to acting with intent? So this is different than intentional torts because we're talking about when a tortfeasor is negligent. Strict liability. What elements are necessary to prove that the tortfeasor acted with no fault but can still be held liable? So there wasn't intent, there wasn't even negligent, but when can a defendant still be held liable just for acting? Other torts. What are other torts that we will learn about? We'll learn about defamation, privacy torts, and economic torts. So I hope to see you next time when we start intentional torts.